Hi everyone, my name is Jair Alexander Chamorro, and I welcome you to our podcast. Today we bring you a very special episode where we will dive into a journey full of challenges, learning, and great achievements. In this space, Alexandra, Judy, Herbin, and me share our personal experience learning English from those early steps as beginners when words felt like a puzzle to the level that we have reached today. You will hear inspiring anecdotes, effective strategies, funny moments, and of course, the challenges that we face along the way. If you are learning English or looking for motivation to keep going, this episode is for you. So get comfortable, relax, and join us on this exciting journey of learning a new language. Let's get started. To begin, let's talk about how and when we start learning English. Alexandra, please share your experience.
Okay, classmate, thank you. Since I was a little girl, my aunt used to listen to so much music in English, even though she couldn't understand the lyrics correctly. It was funny. Little by little, I liked the music she listened to. That's how I became interested in English. In elementary school, I was very good at English. I was already a natural and more advanced than my classmates at the time. Everyone thought I was going to some academy or recommended it to work on my skills, but I didn't have that luxury. Thanks.
That's really interesting. Now, let's hear what Judy has to say.
Okay, I have been interested in English since I was little because when I was studying and was very out studying in that subject, my favorite test when I started studying once in English. I will never forget. It was about colors in English and about the highest score of all my classmates compared to my classmate. It was always my favorite subject. So that motivated me become interesting in English, um, and as my classmate says, music was also very present.
Okay, I think many people can relate a story like that. Herbin, what was your process for starting to learn English?
Hello everyone. Well, for me, I started learning English since I was a child. I was highly influenced by video games, and I remember my father's computer had a lot of video games. So I started playing them, and of course, many of them were only in English. So I had to learn words and translate because there was another way to do it. After that, I entered into a school with a strong English learning process. And in there, I strengthened my skills and I learned most of the things I know today. Right now, my learning process has become a passive process because I learn through aspects such as social media, for example, as memes, video games, series, and so on. Thank you.
Okay, it's fascinating to hear all these stories and how each person had different motivations to take that first step toward learning English. Personally, I can say that my love for English started in high school during the boom of subtitle movies because I love the movies. However, I never fully committed to learning it because my professional life took a different path. It was only in recent years that I decided to take on the challenge, not just to learn English for practice, but also to teach it. And it would be interesting to know what were the most significant challenge that you face along the way and how you manage to overcome them. Alexandra, please tell us.
Okay, it all began when I started college. When I saw that my skills were nothing compared to my classmates, I felt really useless and little. So I started to improve my skills with more reading, vocabulary, and series with English and American speech, all in order to distinguish both nations and how to attenuate the right accent. I am now started level C1 and I am placed to continue advancing in this process. Thanks.
Okay, and for you, Judy?
In my case, the main challenge are phonetic in pronunciation of word, which is still quite difficult for me, and I am working on it to improve it. At first, grammar was quite complicated for me, but began to work on it by reading and some videos and outside before music amongst other tools.
Okay, what about your main challenges, Harbin?
Well, there are four main challenges for me. The first one is grammar learning. Uh, this skill is always hard to, especially to beginners, to learn because there are many rules. So what I did was I took some English lessons in an academy, and I learned most of the important rules of English language. After that, there is the correct pronunciation. It's really difficult for us Spanish speakers to acquire a right pronunciation. So what I'm doing is listening to videos and learning phonetics. There's also this important aspect of losing our accent. For this, what I do is that I'm practicing words intonation. Finally, there is the general speaking performance. I feel my speaking skill isn't as good as I would like it to be. So what I am doing is that I'm taking English lessons in another academy, and I also planning on joining into calls with strangers to keep practicing. Thank you.
Okay, my case is very similar to Harbin. At the beginning, I don't know anything of English, so I had to face was definitively to fear of not speaking correctly. I was always afraid of making mistakes and being lauded, which caused me a lot of frustration because I kept me from progressing as I wanted. However, one day I decided to improve. I had to make mistakes, identify them, and work on fixing them. That's how I started speaking with bit more confidence, always reminding myself that my learning process will not stop. And it hasn't, I'm still learning and improving in the best way that I can. Okay, next, I want to ask you what effective strategies have helped you to improve? Please, Alexandra.
Before, I used apps like Duolingo to improve all skills. Since it didn't motivate me enough to make it a routine, I opted for series and read a book every month. I would like to recommend you Supergirl, Titans, Doctor House, and Arcane.
Okay, these are good series to see. Please, Judy, what do you say about this?
Yes. In my case, I really like watching movies, but I prefer using resource like Duolingo. I like to keep my streak going live with transcribing song for Spanish to English has helped me improve it a lot. I also like wearing notes around the house or practicing talking to myself or making up stories where I can include word in English and complete them the Spanish.
Okay, that's right. Today there are several apps that help us to improve our learning process. Harbin, what do you say?
Okay, so strategies for learning English. The first one I have is making learning English an amusing process. So, what can we do for this? You could consume your favorite content in English, and also you can discover new music in English and get used to it. All right, now for listening skills. Uh, for this skill, you can watch documentaries, you can watch memes, and also watch series. And I agree with Alexandra because Arcane is a masterpiece. And for our audience, please, if you haven't watched it, do it because it is one of the best series that have been made in this decade. Now, speaking for this skill, you can use the acquired knowledge when listening to English and replicate it in daily conversations. Now, writing. This skill can be um, performed through expressions that you can search. Also, you could look up connectors, synonyms, prepositions, and try use a varied vocabulary and avoid repeating words. Finally, reading. For this, you can look every unknown word up and use it when you have to write something. For example, if you have, I don't know, to write an essay, you can use those unknown words you learned before. So it is like a whole process, and every skill connects with the other ones. So yeah, those are my strategies. Thank you.
Okay, my strategies have been consistent practice and gradually immersing myself in my close environment, such as with family and friends. For example, I try to reply to WhatsApp messages in English so they can join me in the process. This is a great help for me. Okay, let's now talk about those memorable experience that you have had while learning English. I know some of them might have been frustrating, embarrassing, or even funny, but everyone has a story worth sharing. Alexandra, which was your memorable experience?
Okay, I remember the day I was listening to my favorite song in English, and suddenly it all made sense. I realized that I understood the completely lyrics without looking at the translation. It was a mixture of pride and happiness because I felt that the effort I have made all this time had been worth it. The same thing happened to me when I watched a movie without subtitles and understood mostly the context. I didn't realize I had subtitles until halfway through the movie because my granny said, "You understand that?" Because I have no idea.
Okay, and now is your turn, Judy.
Yes, I have a lot of experience with English, but I remember that when a student studying this course, we had to take exam, um, and I was super scared because and did know what is one's going to be about. Um, but once I did the activity and got very good, Great, because I had perfectly understood the dialogues and beat on that the correct answer so one feel prompt.
Okay, Harbin, what do you say?
I remember three main experiences. The one was camping with natives. I joined them with other students, and these two foreign people told us some stories and how their experience had been here in Colombia. And it was really great because you could listen to their accent and how they connected their words. Also, watching shows in English is a general great experience because you can mix what you like to do with learning English, which is really important for us. And finally, there was a time I had to help a foreign to arrive his destination. We were traveling from San Agustin to Pitalito, and this man he had to go back to San Agustin, and there was nobody else that knew Spanish. So I gave him instructions, and I also gave him some money because I was worried and I wanted to be nice. And everything went okay. It was a little scary, but yeah, he could arrive, and after that he called me, and he was okay. Nothing bad happened to him. So yeah, those were some really interesting experiences. Thank you.
Okay, look at this. For me, I think that all the learning process has been a memorable experience. In my case, I faced many technical difficulties, and my nerves often got the best of me. There were countless little moments that made my learning journey far from easy. I think each of you and everyone involved in this process has special moments to look back on. Okay, to close, um, it has been truly inspiring to hear these student stories. We have shown that learning English is much more than acquiring a language. It's about opening doors, overcoming barriers, and growing personally. From those nervous first steps to achieving what once seemed impossible, each story reminds you that effort and persistence always pay off. We hope these stories have motivated you and reminded you that no matter the challenges, every step forward counts, and the learning journey is unique for everyone. Okay, guys, thanks for your participation. Your experience were very important to uh, know how was your process to learning of English. Thank you for joining us and being part of this space. See you next time. Until then, keep learning, growing, and dreaming. Bye. Goodbye.